Financial institutions are grappling with a number of challenges, not least of which is the rising cost of compliance. They're struggling with increased data, and they're struggling with changes in the regulation. So really, the need to do something different is very clear to me. And what that is the use of technology. It's not always going to have to be the most advanced technology. It doesn't have to be AI. It can be very, very basic automation. But firms need to do something, and if they don't act now and start imagining how these technologies can be applied to their risk and compliance functions, I think they're going to be up against it in the future.
On one hand, you have the rising regulation. On the other hand, you have some of these regulations that have been put in place that are now being rolled back. So I think about the Volcker rule in the United States right now. Does that type of flip-flopping that potentially, if a new administration comes into power, the rules of the game may change, does that impede or dissuade companies from investing in this type of technology?
That uncertainty, the fact that you're not sure what rules will apply in the future, clearly impedes people making huge investments. But my point, I guess, would be is that it doesn't need to be a huge investment. It needs to be a practical, thought-through strategy which aligns with your wider organisational strategy. So even if the regulations roll back, if you've thought about your response to compliance with regards to the rest of your transformation strategy, you kind of have a no-regrets actions you can take. But absolutely, I think that is holding back investment in this area. But I think in the same way that some areas are considering rollback, there's growth and there are new regulations coming in other areas.
That segues quite nicely into talking about multinational companies, because it's become a very global world. Even small little companies can have a global reach. Do you think that regtech can actually smooth out the process across borders of having different regulations in place, different penalties in place, different rules in place, or does it become somewhat of a roadblock?
I think the regulators themselves appreciate that challenge. So in the UK, the Financial Conduct Authority is leading the charge with trying to join up some of those regulators, those colleges. Everyone talks about sandboxes, where firms can experiment in a safe environment. In the FCA, they're trying to coordinate globally and introduce a global sandbox, which I think would be a very positive thing, because now you're in a slightly strange position where there's a bit of regulatory arbitrage happening, where you have one jurisdiction saying, come to my sandbox. You know, if you're not accepted in MAS in Singapore or in the UK, you can come to my jurisdiction. So I think that's a danger. I think if that sort of regulators trying to get one up on each other continues, that's an impediment. However, I think as you say, the international nature of some of even these smaller businesses is a positive, and they are they're natives in this now. They realise those challenges. They haven't grown up with silos. Some of the bigger financial institutions who are truly international are in 50, 60 countries. They are there, but they have such strong local presence, they're not prepared to change. I think the startups have an advantage because they recognise, okay, I need to play on the global stage, I need to play cross-border, and I'm going to gear up my business model to do that.